Welcome back to another edition of This Week on Blu-ray and DVD. I'm your host, Thor Diakow, and it's our post-Oscars wrap-up. We got a couple of movies that actually figured quite prominently at the Academy Awards. Let's begin with Creed, and you want to talk about legacy. This one hits it squarely on the nose. Now, despite Sylvester Stallone not winning the Best Supporting Actor award, which many thought he would, he did get nominated, and he also picked up a Golden Globe and a Critics' Choice Award for his portrayal of Rocky Balboa. But many years later, this, of course, is Creed, and it centers around the son of Apollo Creed, who you may remember was played by Carl Weathers in the original Rocky films. He stars as Adonis Johnson, and out of nowhere comes Rocky Balboa to train him to uphold the legacy, and a lot of interesting twists and surprises in this one. I'm not going to give them away. Great cast, including Tessa Thompson, Felicia Rashad, but this was just a great, powerful story from Ryan Coogler, the director of Fruitvale Station, which was another acclaimed film with Michael B. Jordan. So they've got the two of them reuniting, and a really well thought out screenplay. Many balked at the idea of another Rocky film, but this one had a lot of heart, gritty intensity, some amazing boxing sequences. So there was a real human touch to the story, and it was a great way to bring Stallone, the character, full circle in terms of another emotional journey and really bring it to another generation of people. So the Blu-ray combo pack features Know the Past, Own the Future, Becoming Adonis, and some deleted scenes. Creed was incidentally featured on more than 40 critics' top 10 lists for 2015. So there you go. He may not have struck Oscar gold, but a fantastic performance, one of Sly's best. Don't miss Creed, a high octane knockout. All right, and this was a bit of a surprise as well. Elevation Pictures releasing Room on Blu-ray and DVD. There you go. 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. But the talk of this one is, of course, Brie Larson, who picked up an Oscar for Best Actress in this one. And it also stars local boy Jacob Tremblay, who's been stealing hearts ever since he was making the red carpet rounds for this one. But a very harrowing, gripping story at the center of this. It's about a mom raising her young son. They've been held captive in a room for years, and her fierce love for her son and determination to get him out really culminates in the story here. Again, don't want to tell you too much about what happens in this film, but it's not only about the harrowing circumstances of what they're dealing with, but what it's like outside of that and adjusting to life when you haven't really been brought up in the real world. So there you go. The room cannot contain them for long. It's amazing what Brie Larson did with this character, and it's a really sort of stripped down, non-makeup kind of role. Very powerful, very raw, and the chemistry she has with Tremblay here is extraordinary. Wonderful screenplay, very sensitive direction, and just a gripping story, as I say, based on the great screenplay from Emma Donoghue, who is just a genius as well in her own right. So don't miss Room, one of the finest of the year. Okay, now we're going to switch gears and talk about legend. And Tom Hardy, this guy was also nominated for The Revenant. He starred in Mad Max Fury Road, which picked up 6 awards. This guy's been busy, and in this one, it's a real-life gangster story of Reggie and Ronnie Cray. They were twin gangsters who rose to fame in the 60s. The cool thing about this is Tom Hardy plays both roles, so it's amazing to see the dual performance from here. Unfortunately, the movie itself was not great. There was some romantic entanglements that really slowed the movie down, some superficial sort of examinations of the characters, so it wasn't a great film. It didn't add too much to the genre, but it's worth seeing for Tom Hardy's dual performance alone. He's just a master craft when it comes to his acting, and yeah, it's a little bit violent, a little bit gritty, not for everyone. And I found the music sometimes didn't always fit the mood of it. But again, Tom Hardy playing 2 roles, that's worth the price of admission alone. All right, comedy is the next thing we're going to tackle right now. And The Night Before, and speaking of local boys, Seth Rogen is back in this one, along with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anthony Mackie. This is a great movie, an outrageous story about 3 best friends who set out for one last night of wild debauchery before settling down into adulthood. I know it's not Christmas time, but it's definitely got that Christmas spirit to it. Lizzie Kaplan, Jillian Bell, who's a scene stealer, Mindy Kaling, along with Michael Shannon, who's got a great extended cameo. They are making up the cast in this one. Hilarious gags, and the bonus features are great. You get the on-set shenanigans in a featurette called Making One Epic Party, and an extended look at the strip club scenes where Jillian Bell and Seth Rogen basically can't make it through a take without laughing in Whale Juice. The other one of the other features is called Drunk as Santa's on the Block. So it gives you an idea of the irreverent humor, a lot of drug drug gags, a lot of explicit material, a little bit of nudity, but it was funny throughout, and the guys had such a great camaraderie with the bromance, the trifecta bromance there. Awesome casting in this one, and some rather well-written gags. And finally, guys, we leave you with Pixar's latest. Now, this was not one of their strongest titles. It didn't do all that well at the box office, but you know what? It's still a keeper. It's still a collector for those that love the Pixar movies, The Good Dinosaur. And this asks the question, what if the asteroid that forever changed life on Earth missed the planet completely and dinosaurs never became extinct? What would have happened to them? Look at the footage here. The photorealistic background was incredible, so it looks stunning. The character development and the story came up short for this one, but what they did great in this one was conveying emotion and moving story along without dialogue or words, so that was very cool. And it did have those poignant, tear-jerking moments, of course, but as I say, the story was a little bit familiar. It still has a lot of humor, heart, action, and imagination, but basically the dinosaurs have evolved to talk, and they've been able to utilize farming practices, so some of that stuff was a bit weird to get over, and the cartoonish nature of the dinosaurs I didn't always jive with, but it looks awesome. The whole family can enjoy it, and it does have those classic Pixar moments, although not one of their strongest titles, still better than the average animated film out there. There you have it. That's it, people. A lot to choose from this week. Some great flicks out there. I'm Thor Dykow. You can catch me on Twitter @ThorDykow. Let me know what you thought of these titles. We'll see you next week on breakfasttelevision.ca.